How is it that a country that put a man on the moon still can't get 11 guys on a field without looking like a high school team from Nebraska? Seriously, I mean, we're talking about a nation that invented the smartphone, the internet, and damn near every other technological breakthrough in the last century. They've got rockets that fly to Mars, but when it comes to putting together a competitive soccer team, it's like they're still figuring out how to tie their cleats. Pelé already graced their fields. Beckham moved there and turned LA into his personal red carpet. Kaká also dipped his toes in the future of soccer. And now we've got Messi, arguably the greatest player of all time, coming to save the league. Not to mention Suarez, Busquets, and even legends like Zlatan and Rooney. But despite all this, what's the result? Watching MLS feels like watching paint dry, in slow motion, on a rainy Tuesday. It's like watching a show with all the hype and big names, but then realizing you're stuck in the wrong time zone, and it's a rerun. It's almost laughable. You've got the entire globe watching the likes of Messi, and yet the league still can't manage to put on a decent show. It's as if the whole setup is a marketing gimmick. People are sold on the stars, but the game itself? Well, that's still stuck in the 90s. Let's be real here. American soccer is a joke. And I'm not talking about a meme or a Twitter roast. I mean it in the most honest way possible. No amount of Hollywood flair or advertising can cover up the fact that the actual product, what happens on that field, is nothing short of embarrassing. I'm not here to play nice. I'm here to say what everyone's been thinking but won't admit. US soccer is like that rich kid in school who has all the latest gear, the personal trainers, the shiny new cleats, and a coach who probably spends more time on Instagram than actually coaching. But when it's game time, where is he? Sitting on the bench, watching the real players do their thing. And yet, despite all that potential, the moment someone dares to bring up the state of US soccer, people hit me with the same tired line. But Messi's in Miami. Oh, cool. And your point is? Just because one of the greatest players of all time is there, suddenly everything is fine? It's like slapping a gold chain on a broken-down car and calling it a luxury vehicle. Sorry, but Messi in the MLS is like putting truffle oil on instant noodles. It's still noodles, just fancier noodles. You can throw all the high-end ingredients in the pot, but at the end of the day, it's still the same sad, bland meal. MLS fans love to point to Messi's arrival, as if that's the magic fix to everything. But no amount of glitter is going to hide the fact that the league is still operating like it's stuck in a perpetual getting started phase. You can't just sprinkle some star power and expect to trick the world into believing that everything else is up to par. It's like putting a Ferrari engine in a shopping cart. Looks cool at first glance, but the wheels are still wobbling. Americans keep saying, in 10 years we'll dominate world football. We'll be the next Brazil, the next Spain, the next Germany. Bro, let's be honest here. You've been saying the same thing since David Beckham moved to the MLS in 2007. Every time a new big-name player lands in the league, there's a fresh wave of this is it. This is the year US soccer makes its move. But guess what? It's been over a decade, and you're still out here talking about potential. The hype is real, but the reality? Not so much. Now, they've got Apple TV deals, big money investors throwing stacks of cash around like they're at a strip club. They're hosting the Copa America, the World Cup, the Club World Cup. You name it. They've got it all lined up. They've got the marketing, the infrastructure, the celebrity signings, and even the technology. And still, they're getting embarrassed by the most underwhelming teams on the planet. Just look at what happened when they played Panama. Panama, a country where most people couldn't name a single player on their national team. And what happens? Panama slaps the US national team 5-1. 5-1. And the worst part? Panama's players literally asked if they went too easy on them. I mean, come on. That's like your kid brother slapping you around in FIFA, and then asking if you're okay. It's laughable. The MLS talks a big game about becoming a powerhouse in world football. But the moment they face a team that's half decent, they crumble. You can't throw around big names and expect to bypass the fundamentals. Money and hype can't fix what's broken in the heart of American soccer. MLS is like a luxury nursing home for retired football legends. A place where once great players go to play out their golden years while soaking up the sun and collecting paychecks that would make most of us cry. And I'm not just talking about the occasional aging star. This is the dream team of retirement. Pelé, Beckham, Kaka, Pirlo, Lampard, Gerrard, Rooney, Lot, Schweinsteiger. Hell, even Andrea Pirlo spent more time sipping espresso than he did chasing down midfielders. And now, you've got Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Alba. It's like they're all living out their glory days in slow motion, but instead of competing for a title, they're just kicking back, enjoying their retirement package. It's like taking the best players from the 2014 World Cup, when they still had something to prove, and dropping them in a kickback league. That's more about beach volleyball than actual football. These guys aren't here to hustle. They're not here to compete. They're here for the Florida sun, tax breaks, and maybe some time on their yachts. You think Messi, the guy who's won everything from Champions League to Ballon d'Or, really gives a damn about the MLS Cup? Let's be real. Messi isn't out here grinding for trophies. He's out here for vacation mode. Maybe he'll pick up a trophy for the hell of it. But that's not why he's in Miami. If the MLS Cup was a real competition, Messi would have gone somewhere that actually challenges him. Not somewhere where the biggest hurdle is getting a parking spot at the stadium. Messi isn't stressing over whether he gets another trophy. He's probably more concerned about which beach he'll hit next. At the end of the day, these players, especially the new ones coming in, are like those washed-up Hollywood stars who end up in B-movie roles just to keep the checks coming. They're still technically big names, but the fire's gone. They're no longer fighting for greatness. They're just collecting a paycheck in a place where the stakes are low and the weather's always perfect. So no, Messi doesn't care about the MLS Cup. He's not losing any sleep over it. And you know what? Neither should you. In the MLS pressure? Never heard of it. You won't find fans lighting their jerseys on fire after a tough loss or throwing flares onto the field like you would in Brazil or Argentina. Hell, you won't even get that tension you get in European leagues when the stakes are through the roof. No, in the MLS, you get fans sipping overpriced craft beers, nodding politely when a corner kick is taken, and clapping, gently, when the ball goes out of bounds. It's all very civilized, like watching a well-mannered game of shuffleboard at a retirement home. There's no intensity, no real stakes. There's no fire in the stands, no raw emotion. Just a bunch of people who probably left their passion for the game back in their youth league days. Lost? No biggie. Won? Meh. It's just another day in paradise. Even the big wins feel like just another weekend out at the bar. No one's really feeling it. No one's on the edge of their seat, waiting to see if their team wins or loses. It's just another part of the entertainment schedule. And let's be honest, you can feel the difference. Compare that to the chaos of Brazil during the Copa Libertadores, the electric atmosphere in Argentina's Superclásico, or even the madness of a rainy Tuesday night at Stoke City, where the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. That's passion. That's what football is about. That's what it means to have your entire life hang in the balance for 90 minutes. That's the stuff that turns players into legends and matches into history. MLS? It's the Charmin Ultra Soft of world football. Soft, cushiony, and, well, kind of useless when it comes to creating real football drama. If you're looking for passion, fire, or anything remotely resembling the intensity that makes football great, MLS is the place where dreams go to take a nap. You're more likely to find a fan arguing over whether the nachos should come with guacamole than you are to find one whose heart is pounding in anticipation of a last-minute goal. When your biggest concern is whether the Wi-Fi is fast enough to stream the game, you know you're not in the right place. MLS tries so hard to mimic the NBA, right? Salary caps, limits on how many big-name players you can have, and a bunch of mind-boggling rules that no one outside of the league's front office even understands. But the result? A circus. You've got Messi, the greatest player in the world, playing for one team, and then you've got some random dude who used to teach gym class in high school trying to mark him. No joke. This is the level we're talking about. Imagine Messi getting kicked by a guy who can barely control a soccer ball in a pickup game at the local park. This is MLS, where your international superstar plays against people who might need a little more time on the training field before facing off against the world's best. Each team can only have 3 designated players. The stars, the ones who get all the hype. But what about the rest of the team? Well, it's a grab bag of guys who either wouldn't make it past the second division in Brazil, or who couldn't even crack the squad in European leagues with worse competition. These are the players who are here for the paycheck, but definitely not for the competition. It's as if they're living in some alternate reality where they're surrounded by international legends, but they're still stuck at the level of the local amateur league. It's like serving filet mignon at a high-end restaurant, but the sides are frozen microwave chicken nuggets. You've got the appearance of a gourmet meal, Messi, Beckham, Kaka, but when you really dig into it, you realize you're just left with cheap filler. The league might market itself as high class, but in reality, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. MLS likes to call itself premium on the outside, but deep down, it's like a 4th division league trying to play in the big leagues. They put on the act, they slap on the marketing, they throw in a couple of big names for some shine. But when it comes down to the quality of the game and the players, it's clear. It's not even close to the real deal. It's all smoke and mirrors, with the glamour of top-tier football but none of the substance. It's the illusion of excellence without any of the real competition. MLS boasts 30 teams. That's more than the Premier League and La Liga combined. 2 of the most competitive leagues in the world, stacked with talent. And yet somehow, MLS manages to have more teams, but nowhere near the same level of quality. You know what that means, right? Messi, the GOAT, is out there playing against Amazon delivery drivers, Uber drivers working part-time, and people who probably can't tell a 4-3-3 formation from a pack of gum. That's the talent pool you're dealing with. It's like the biggest mismatch in sports history. Imagine watching Messi try to take on a guy whose idea of defending is just chasing him around the field, hoping to accidentally bump into him. It's not football. It's just a glorified stroll for the stars. And you know what that results in? Talent spread thinner than an Instagram model's self-esteem. The more teams you add, the more you dilute the level of play. It's like trying to make a fine wine from grapes you picked up from the local Walmart. It doesn't matter how many bottles you put out there. It's still cheap, low-quality stuff that's not going to impress anyone with a real taste for football. Let's be honest. MLS is filled with quantity, not quality. The top players are surrounded by a sea of mediocrity, and that's why even when the stars shine, they just look like they're performing in an entirely different league. Messi's brilliance is obvious, but when he's playing against people who barely know how to control the ball, it's like watching a Ferrari drive through a bumper car track. It's out of place, and it makes the rest of the league look even worse. 30 teams, but how many of them are actually worth watching? Let's be real. Out of those 30, there are maybe 15 players who could hold their own anywhere else. The rest? Well, they're just there to fill up the roster. It's like getting the leftovers from top football leagues around the world and calling it international football. It's not. It's just the reality of MLS trying to punch above its weight with a roster of players who can't even land a spot in any competitive European league. In the US, the path to becoming a professional footballer starts with a wallet, not with skill. Kids have to pay to join the academy. Yes, that's right. Pay to play football. Forget about talent. The only thing that matters is whether you've got the cash to get in. So if you're poor but have real potential, tough luck. Your dream of playing in MLS? It's a pipe dream unless you can afford to pay for it. Instead, you're likely better off picking up a basketball or trying out for football, where the chances of making it are a bit more equal. But the rich kids? Oh, they're out there in their shiny cleats, dribbling like it's their first time walking. These kids didn't earn their spot because of a natural gift for football. They got in because daddy's credit card is a magic ticket to the academy. The result? They show up to training, and their footwork looks more like a toddler taking its first steps than a future professional. But hey, their parents are happy because they paid the elite fee for them to train, with a bunch of other rich kids who also have no idea how to control the ball. And the coaches? Oh, don't get me started. Half of them used to coach baseball. What does that even mean? Well, in a country where baseball reigns supreme, coaching football often gets handed off to people who have no real knowledge of the sport. They've never played it at a high level, and their main qualification is that they've spent a few seasons yelling at kids to run faster. These guys train more cardio than actual ball skills. And what does that result in? American players can run around for 90 minutes, but they do absolutely nothing with the ball. It's a bunch of guys sprinting around the field, but when it's time to pass or shoot, they freeze. The technical side of the game? It's non-existent. While players in Europe and South America are learning how to control the ball under pressure, think 2 steps ahead, and make creative plays, American players are just running in straight lines. And they wonder why they can't compete at the highest level. It's simple. When you neglect the fundamentals of football in favor of making kids sweat, you end up with a generation of athletes who can run all day but don't know how to play the game. And it's not like this is a new problem. MLS's so-called youth development system is nothing more than a cash grab, creating a cycle where the kids who can afford it get to waste their time playing in these glorified camps, and the ones who actually have the skill are left on the sidelines, literally. The result is a league full of athletes with questionable technique and zero tactical awareness. MLS is desperate to catch up with Europe, but instead of fixing the root cause, the disastrous youth development system, it just throws money at the problem, hoping for a quick fix. But it's just a band-aid on a bullet wound. And until the US fixes its approach to youth football, the national team will keep getting destroyed by Panama, and MLS will keep being a joke. Look, I'm not hating just to hate. I want US soccer to be good. Trust me, I do. The potential is there. I see it. I'm not blind to the fact that this country has a massive market, infrastructure, and enough money to invest in the sport. The athletes are bigger, faster, and stronger than anywhere else. The conditions are ripe for something great. But right now, it's a glorified exhibition league, with great marketing and no street cred. It's like the cool kid at school who has the latest clothes, but no real talent to back it up. The stadiums are impressive, the fan experiences are premium. But when the whistle blows, you're still left with a bunch of players who can't connect a pass without it looking like a training session. Messi made it look cool, sure. His name brings people in, fills seats, and gets the buzz going. But here's the thing. He didn't make it good. He didn't suddenly turn the league into a powerhouse. Not him, not Pelé, not Beckham, not anyone. All these legends are like a nice coat of paint over a crumbling building. They might make it look pretty for a while, but when the game starts, you see the cracks. I get it. MLS is trying. They're throwing money at the problem, attracting big names, and getting all the right media deals. But here's the truth. You can't buy culture. You can't manufacture the passion and authenticity that's been brewing in Europe and South America for decades. You can't bring in superstars and expect them to magically teach everyone how to play. The game is about more than just the flash. It's about the roots, the understanding, the hunger to win. The truth is, MLS is still a work in progress, and we can sit here and keep talking about how great it is to have Messi and his crew. But the reality is that they're here for a paycheck, not a revolution. And that's fine. Maybe it's part of the process. But don't pretend this is a league ready to compete on the world stage. If the US truly wants to make a mark in global football, it needs to stop pretending and start working on the fundamentals. It needs to stop relying on individual stars to carry the load and start developing a culture of technical ability, tactical awareness, and passion that runs deeper than a sponsorship deal. Maybe one day, it will get there. Maybe one day, US soccer will surprise the world in a way we never expected. But as of now, MLS isn't the future of world football. It's an exhibition, a sideshow that no one takes seriously. And if you're okay with that, cool. But let's not fool ourselves into thinking this is the best the world has to offer. I'm not here to tear it down for the sake of tearing it down. I want to see it thrive, but not until it faces the facts. And the fact is, there's a lot of work to do before the US can even think about competing at the highest level. So let's stop pretending and start building. Real development, real players, and real football. That's the only way we'll ever have a shot at proving to the world that US soccer isn't just some glorified marketing gimmick. If you laughed, got triggered, or just realized I'm spitting straight fire, hit that like button. Don't even think about it, just do it. Every click makes the algorithm weep with joy. Smash that subscribe like it owes you money, and you're collecting interest. You know you want to be here when I drop another truth bomb next week. Ring that bell so you don't miss me roasting another football flop. Because, let's face it, they keep coming. And I'm not going to let that slide. And hey, US soccer, you're on notice. Step up your game. We're watching, and we're ready to call you out every time you drop the ball. Literally. Peace out, legends. Catch you on the next one. And don't forget to bring your A game next time. 'Cause I'll be here, ready to bring the heat.